Hey, what's going on, guys? Margie, I'm gonna make you a co-host here so that you can help me out with any type of moderation here, making sure people are quiet. I'll make Brett one too, given the fact that he's the man. But hey, Brett.
What's going on?
Hey, so this is my way of getting around doing all the one-on-one calls I've been doing. Is I'm basically just going to open my stuff up for office hours. I think, and maybe once or twice a week, let people come in, ask questions, do stuff like that. So that was my thinking. Also, I'm putting this on the record right now as people are joining in that I am doing everything I can to let Ben allow me to expense my whiskey problem. So I think you guys all want to get a little information on what I'm drinking today. I'm drinking a Blanton's. It's the single barrel pick by Wes Clay. So I'm just gonna have a little nipperoo here while we're on the call, just to hopefully continue the case that I need to be able to expense my habit.
I think we got into just about every bottle while I was there discussing real estate. So
we definitely did 100%. But all right, everybody here on the call, if you guys haven't already met Brett is actually my business partner here with a lot of the stuff we're doing with Off Leash. One of my oldest friends. He's really helping to kind of take things to the next level now that he's come on board. So but yeah, I'm just going to open it up. I'll let you guys ask any questions. Whiskey questions are encouraged, but this is definitely real estate focused. If you guys have any thoughts or questions you wanted to ask. Yeah, just keep yourselves muted if you're not talking, but yeah, don't be shy. I know Mila already got to ask all her questions with Bo on Wednesday. So for anybody who's anybody who's not aware, I also do have a very small limited coaching program in Mila's. My I would say one of my star pupils. All right, I think Dave's trying to ask a question here.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Dave Hoffman. Nick, you and I have spoken once or twice. I met you a while ago. You got me introduced with Cindy. I'm the investor from New Jersey. Long time.
Cool. Yeah, it's been a while, man.
Yeah. Just kind of new to the group. Have two properties out there in Indy. Number 2 is not going as smoothly as number 1, but that's okay. We all have our challenges.
Yeah.
I guess the main question really kind of want to ask and maybe get some perspective is, the property that I'm looking to rent right now for about 20 days, it's in Crown Hill area. So it's about 2 or 3 blocks south of Butler, Tarkington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just
very familiar.
If anybody has some insight, any additional insight to the neighborhood. I've been out there, I have visited it. But again, it could be one of those things where it's still, people are coming out of the woodwork because it's springtime out there and the market's slow. So just kind of want to see what people think.
Yeah. Are you willing to share the address with us?
Yeah, I definitely am. It's
give me 1 sec. Hold on. I'm not quite ready for it yet.
Yep.
I'll tell you one of the best tools, and I'm going to shout out the Manships. They did an absolutely incredible job with this tool. Is the Indie Investor Map. So I highly recommend.
Is that working now, Nick?
Yeah, it was down for a while, but it is working again. Yeah. What's the address?
It's 3608 North Kenwood Avenue.
Oh, I'm very familiar. I actually have. I'm finishing a flip literally on that block right now. Mine is right here. I think mine is 3652 right now.
3652. Okay. All right. So you're just
like literally, we're on the same side of the block. Yeah. I mean, like mine is like right here, and yours is like down here. Yeah. So I'll be transparent with you, man. It's a good area. It's not my favorite area in the world. I would actually call this more of an orange area if I was grading it myself, having been down there a couple of times. It's an area that's definitely developing. Lots of flips are happening right here in this general area.
Yep.
But it's definitely north of 38th, I would say is definitely a little bit nicer. The things that you might want to be thinking about and considering as I'm kind of looking at my investments in particular is, does it have off-street parking? That's a huge one. There's no street parking right there.
It does.
Okay. Yeah. So I'd say that's a big one. What is it? A 2-1, 3-1? What are we generally looking
Three
at?
bedroom, two bath.
Oh, wow. And what are you asking?
So I did try and flip it. Interesting enough, we finished the rehab it was basically December 2nd, and I had it on the market about 2 months. I had over 43 showings, so a ton of foot traffic through it.
Yeah.
No offers. And so I said, okay, that's fine. We'll just move to refi. And so I worked on that because I couldn't sell it, and now I'm looking to rent it. So right now we're asking 1,400 for it. And I just had a walkthrough today.
Let me go see how it looks.
Sure.
Figure that might be good for everybody to see. 1,400 north of, or pardon me, south of 38th is a little tough, but it is a 3-2. So yeah, I mean, man, that place looks great. It looks absolutely fantastic. It looks like you really crushed it. You definitely went more A class. I'll tell you the area that you might have gone overboard just in terms of the area is some of these finishes. Although it does look pretty fantastic. I think you did a great job. Are you willing to call out who did the work for you?
Yeah. So actually, Nick, I gave him your contact information. We talked a while ago. It was Brad Burns. I don't know if you guys are connected.
Yes, you did. You did tell me about Brad. I owe him a call back. He and I have been playing phone tag for a bit. No, the place looks freaking awesome, man. Who's renting it out for you?
So I have Isaac from Piedmont looking to rent it out.
Okay. Yeah, I've never heard of Isaac. But yeah, that place shows really well. And it looks like you got 24 applications so far. Doesn't seem like that should be a problem.
No, it doesn't. And I will share this with you, Nick, since, let's be transparent. To your point about the finishes, the goal was to flip, right? So that's kind of why I went a little more high end, right? Lesson learned. And unfortunately, as everyone has maybe gone through it, maybe you haven't, about a week ago, the property got broken into and they stole the fridge and the stove.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. I hate to say.
It's not. And I think what I've learned in talking with Brad, Nick, is while we all have Simply Safes and they're great, you got to figure out a way to protect that meter, because what they're going after is that meter. Once they smash the meter and disconnect the power, you're a sitting duck, because those batteries, excuse my language, they suck with Simply Safe. They didn't even last.
Yeah, they lost 24 hours.
They don't. Yeah. So lesson learned, don't put appliances until you have it sold. Don't put appliances until you have a tenant in there. That's why we all have insurance. But just like I said, I appreciate that, Nick, because I did try and go on Mainstay's group about a couple nights ago, and I was trying to look at that investment map, but I found one on Bigger Pockets actually, and I kind of use that now. It's from like 2019, so it's not as up to date as theirs.
It's not as up to date, and I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of the one that's on Bigger Pockets and the creator. So no, I think it's a great looking property, man. I can't see a reason why it wouldn't rent, outside of the fact that you're asking a lot for an area that's kind of a meh area, is the way I'd describe it.
Yeah. And I mean,
but like the finishes justify it. So you just got to find the right person.
Drop it, Nick. Like I said, I'm still cash flowing, so I'm not that concerned, and rents are going to go up anyway. So even if I have to come down, I'm still okay with it.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, do you have my contact information? I might be able to hook you up with somebody else who might have interest in potentially doing something more along the lines of like, I mean, the place looks great. I could imagine it doing really well as like a nurse's rental.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you want to, I have your, I got a couple emails from you, Nick. I'll shoot you my contact information after the call.
Let me connect you with somebody who might be able to help you out there.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We've got a whole group here, guys. Anybody else have any questions? I see. I'm gonna butcher this first name, but somebody Benjamin. Have we had the chance to meet yet? I don't think we have we?
No, we haven't. It's pronounced Essien, by the way.
Essien. Okay, nice. It's good to meet you, man. How'd you come across me? Was it the out of state investors group?
No, it was actually on Bigger Pockets. I messaged you. I saw you responded to somebody else's email. Not email. Thread on Bigger Pockets having to do with Indiana. And I
Yep,
messaged you and
absolutely.
You hit me up about this office hour. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, what's going on in your world, man? What can I do to be helpful?
Yeah, so I am an out-of-state investor right now. I live in Washington, and my market's way too expensive. So I was just researching markets that would fit my criteria. And with Indianapolis, it seems like the right area for me to invest, or at least it's one of the areas I'm looking at. Um, I was just wondering, obviously the real estate market is like appreciating like crazy right now, and it's pretty hard to find deals. Are you finding the same in Indianapolis, or if anybody else on the panel wants to speak up as well? Is it just as oversaturated as other markets to find cash flowing deals?
Hey, Brett, do you want to speak to that about the last couple of weeks, the last like 2 weeks of our lives?
Yeah, so we just went live with our first joint venture, which is going to be a membership program focused on flipping houses. So we've been in deal finding mode just to an insane amount the last couple of weeks. I'll tell you, if you're looking on the MLS, it's tough right now. It's gotten a lot harder the last year or so, as I'm sure you guys all know. I was looking around there. I put a couple bids on places that had 15 to 30 offers that I thought were, value add BRRRR type deals. So we're really focused right now on off market deals, and it's mainly through relationships that Nick, and to a lesser extent I have built up in the last couple of years. And when you're performing as a buyer, people come find you again. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of right now, because the deals that are out there in the public it is harder to cash flow.
But to that end, we literally just got, right before this, an email from our agent on an MLS deal. I'm not telling you guys where it is because I don't want you guys to go swoop it from us. But an MLS deal that we literally just said, great, go put an offer out. So there are deals out there. They're hard. Everything's a little inflated right now. And I think a bunch of things are happening, particularly on MLS deals, non-distressed properties. Distressed properties, very different conversation. But right now, people know interest rates are going to rise. So they are making the decision that they have to go buy today. And with inventory as low as it is, it's driving up these prices. We are going to be listing a couple houses here over the couple coming days. And I fully expect to get multiple offers very, very quickly, because everybody's just trying to scoop up a property that they can get that low rate on today, or relatively low rate.
Yeah, that FOMO effect, fear of missing out, is very real right now, especially for first-time home buyers. They've seen everybody who got in 1-2 years ago for the first time do really well, and they want to get in before those interest rates go up, like Nick mentioned.
I see. Yeah, in particular, I was looking for more like BRRRR properties. I figured that would be a good way to start scaling my portfolio. Again, are you seeing like a lot of BRRRR type properties in Indianapolis? And if so, like what area do you think I should focus on more?
Describe what a successful BRRRR looks like to you. Like, what is your least successful BRRRR?
I've never done a BRRRR before, so it'll be my first time.
What would be the least successful that you would consider a success?
The least successful that I would consider a success. Maybe my ROI is maybe 15%, depending on how much money I have.
15%, a turnkey deal should get you 15% in today's market. Can you get a little more descriptive? Like, you buy the house for $50,000. What would the remaining pieces of that look like a win to you look like?
Well, again, I'm an amateur, so I would guess if I bought a house for $50,000 and I put another 40 grand into it, so I'm all in for 90. I just closed on a HELOC. I'm going to use that for either the renovations and the down payment, in addition to a private money lender that I talked to yesterday. And I would like to leave no more than maybe 10 grand in the deal.
Okay. So, I mean, those deals do exist. They're tough. They take work, and it's particularly doing it on your first deal where you don't have a team in place. Have you ever done out-of-state investing?
Not intentionally.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, it is hard. It takes work. And David Green makes it seem like it's something that's super easy. And, at this point in my career, it is easy for me. Now, granted, I get to punt things over to Brett. I get to punt things over to Margie and Menshu and Lazille, who are on my team. And that makes it a whole lot easier. But that's because I've built one hell of a team to do it. I've got an agent who I really know, like, and trust. A couple of them, actually. I've got a property manager who I really, really like and trust. I've got multiple contractors I can call on. And I've got lenders and or cash position to go do it. It gets exponentially harder each team member you're trying to onboard as you do it. It doesn't get like linearly harder. So obviously for any transaction, you're probably going to need an agent or at least some type of deal finder. You're going to need a lender, and you're going to need the property management on the back end. And I will fly to Seattle. I think you said Seattle, and I will try and choke you out if you skimp out and try not to do a property manager. That is the biggest mistake I see people make. So you need to get all that done. Adding that contracting piece and that long distance improvement on your first one it's a challenge, let me tell you. So it is possible. You can totally do it. And those kinds of deals definitely exist out here in Indianapolis. Like with all the projects that Brett and I are doing right now, if we wanted to hold on to them, most of them, we could probably burn all or most of our money back out and have less than $10,000 locked in the deal. Wow. That's just not the strategy we're currently taking. But yes, they do exist. It's going to be hard on market to do that.
Okay. For off-market deals, you usually use wholesalers, or do your agents also give you some off-market deals as well?
We occasionally get an off-market deal from an agent, but generally speaking, it's all coming from wholesalers. Again, though, those guys are sharks, and like I'll call it right out here. And if Mainstay or Simple or any of these guys are listening to this, I think they'd agree with me when I say that they're not watching out for your best interest. They're watching out for their best interest. And the analogy I like to make is you are a dolphin swimming here. And like these sharks, they have a whole lot more information than you do. And they can certainly eat you. You are the prey. But once you get that pot of dolphin, the sharks tend to stay away because they will lose that fight. Until you have one hell of a team in place, I do not recommend you go head to head with a shark.
All right. I see.
Yeah. And so I'll specifically call out Clay and Evan, because I'm going to post this after the fact. I'll call out I'll call out Randy and Brian over at Simple. I think all of them would agree with that assessment.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And if you need help, I can give recommendations on members of the team. The only one I don't give recommendations on is contractors, because generally what I've found is two things. One, I have as much business as my contractors can take. It's to the point that I'm having them expand their operations in most cases. And two, and I hate to say this about anybody, but my experience of contractors is that they all have an expiration date.
Okay, well, good to know. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Please let me know if there's anything else I can do to be helpful. Okay.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah. What's going on, Brooks? I know we've got some deals we need to take a look at. Do you want to do that here now? Show people some deals. All right.
Mila's excited.
Yeah, Mila's ready to go, man. And I know Brooks. I know we're grabbing beers next week, but I've been negligent. It's been a crazy couple of days. We literally bought 4 houses today. We bought a house yesterday. Things have been a little bit nuts, so I haven't been nearly as responsive as I intend to be. All right, Brooks might not be around, so we can circle back. Anastasia, dude, what's going on? I haven't seen you in forever.
I was just popping in to say hi and to hear, your wisdom.
Yeah, so, no, I don't have any of that. I just what I realized is I was doing a whole lot of one-on-one calls, and it's just not scalable with my current schedule. So I figure I give people half an hour that I'm going to be available on a weekly basis to just come and ask questions, and hopefully I can help out.
That's great. Awesome. But I do have just a simple question. I would just like to hear what kind of interest rates you're getting right now. It's going up, but then I sometimes hear that it's going down. So
So it depends what kind of loans you're getting. Right now,
Not
I'm actually
conventional.
finding, yeah, conventional loans are tough. I'm hearing anywhere from 4.75 all the way up to 6.25%. So that seems to be the kind of the conventional rate. And you can obviously buy down points and everything like that, or buy down the rate with points. So that's oppressive in its own way. Yeah, I know it's a bit nuts. So that's a bit tough. I'll actually tell you the DSCR loans I'm seeing are actually outperforming that, generally speaking. So I know Jared Shore has been talking about that a decent amount. Jared's a buddy of mine, and
He just
so
said that in the Indie Investor Pod, actually.
oh, did he?
I just
Okay.
listened to that episode today. Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody doesn't listen to the Indie Investor Pod and invests in Indianapolis, you guys need to go make that subscription right now. It's absolutely awesome. That's where the Simple team, Simple Wholesale team, goes about and interviews people around the market. Jared being a recent one. I think I'm actually going to be on that one here in a couple of weeks again. I think they booked me in a couple other recent transplants. So that should be a good time. So yeah, I'm actually generally speaking right now, and I haven't refinanced anything in a couple of weeks. So keep this in mind. This is a couple weeks old. I actually just got a 4% on a 25-year amortization.
Wow. That's
so
awesome.
I think they're up to 4.25 is what I heard recently. But you have to be local. If you need that contact, let me know. I'm more than willing to do that intro for you.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I was getting conventional for a while, like around 3.6, and I think those days are over.
I don't think you're going to get that anymore, unfortunately.
It's like, yeah, just like some of our old deals we got too, right? So
I miss those days.
But great seeing you, and
Yeah.
hope to see you guys again soon too.
Yeah, you guys doing anything tonight? You want to grab a drink?
We are actually going to a concert at the Palladium.
What the heck? Come on.
I know.
Anybody fun?
It's a Latino group. So yeah, it's a cheap concert if you guys want to come. So
I will see if I can talk the wifey into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice
Awesome.
to see you.
Good to see you, Nick.
Yeah. All right. Who hasn't talked? I know Mila wants to see some deals. We got to get Brooks back on the line so that we can talk deals. We got Margie, Dave. We talked. Ed, is that what Ed is this?
This is the Ed that hopefully you know.
I know this Ed. Yes, I do. Yeah, but it looks like you're on spring break right now.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
I have a bunch of questions that maybe are quick, and they're all the newbie questions.
Yeah.
So
don't ask anything that you're not okay with this being put online, though. Okay.
Oh, sure, definitely. Okay. So was using your buy and hold calculator, and one thing I noticed is that you introduced the property tax fee as something that you would look at the history in Redfin, and then you would then make up a percentage. Why is that? Why don't you take the number that's there and divide by the assessed value, and then have a percentage that you then apply to your new your new property? And is it a difference between California and
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Generally speaking, the reason I do that is there's not a wrong way to do it. The calculator is designed not to be a perfect, hey, this is exactly what's going to happen over the next 10 years. Yep. It's designed to be a finger to the wind, like, hey, we're going to try and get as close as we possibly can. So with that in mind, Indianapolis can charge up to 2% of the assessed value of the home for the property tax. Now, they don't tend to do that. It tends to be trailing really, really hard. So that's why I kind of look at the historical, and then I back my way into the percentage of what I want to use. And generally speaking, I'll overshoot it a little bit. So if, for instance, it's a $100,000 house that they've been charging $500, for instance, that would be 0.5% tax rate. I would probably then go put like 1%, because I figure they're going to increase it here over the next several years.
I see. So it's not necessarily based on the sales price?
That's correct. It's based on the assessed value of the home.
Okay. Which can be quite a bit different even at a transaction?
Very much so, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So and I think that's a fantastic, fantastic question. And for anybody who hasn't seen the calculator, like there are lots of different calculators out there. Brett helped me to build what I think is a pretty good, just very quick calculator that we use. Right. Were there other questions?
Yeah, I got another question. I was listening to a Deeper Pockets podcast, and I think David Green mentioned something about some markets being markets that are easy to get into because the properties are very cheap but hard to get out, and so it's a bit of a trap for new investors. How do you know? How do you know when you see that, and how do you avoid it?
That's an interesting question. I think at one point, Indianapolis might have been considered that because the transaction volume was particularly low. I don't think that's the case anymore, obviously, as we take a look at the transaction volume. But I think it could be those markets that people see, hey, really high rent to values, but don't actually have a whole lot of transaction volume. And I would probably look at that number in addition to the time on market for the average deal or for the average property, and use that as an indication. I mean, you want there to be significant growth over time. You want to see a positive net migration. And I think by going through the market selection process a little bit more aggressively and going and actually seeing that there's positive net migration, that would generally help to avoid that potential issue. I know David Green actually has an issue. I've met him personally a couple of times. He's I wouldn't call him a friend, but I would call him an acquaintance at this point. And he's kind of got a thing against Indianapolis, so he might still consider Indianapolis one of those markets. Yeah. Brett, any comments there? Anything that I didn't necessarily touch on?
Well, I don't know if Nick's a good person to answer because his solution was to move to Indianapolis. So
yeah,
that's all I have to say. I think that's a good point though, Nick. Like you do want to market where people are buying, and for Indianapolis, that's where I'm focusing my investments right now. And there are a lot of people wanting to bring money into Indianapolis right now from out of state. Even the contractors talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
So very popular one right now, especially for Californians.
I've got another question if nobody has.
Go for it, man.
Yeah.
What would be the fastest way to learn? Like, I feel that I could do some deals, but maybe I'll be limited by how quickly I can move. Like maybe some way I can listen in on things that are happening. And
yeah, so
faster.
That's a freaking amazing question. One, first and foremost, plug for myself. I think Giulioni Real Estate Investors or Off Leash Investment Coaching Program, fantastic option. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to undersell myself there. There are a couple of things. The quickest way to learn is to do it. You're going to learn more in your first transaction or two. And Anastasia, I'd actually love your feedback on this as well. You're going to learn more in that first transaction than you did in all of the research you did going up to that point. And it's going to be like, holy crap, I can't believe what just happened. Either positive or negative. You're going to be like, that was a whirlwind. It's a whole lot of hurry up and wait. So I'd say going through your first transaction, I have one more thought, but I'll let Anastasia speak to it.
Yeah, I don't think you don't know what you don't know until you do it, right? And you could have all these contractors lined up, but until you actually start doing it, you don't know who's going to work, who's not going to work. So I agree with Nick. I think just finding a deal that meets your criteria in your strategy, once you've figured that out and going for it, and making sure that financially you'll still be good, make sure you have some reserves set up in an emergency fund for your property. But yeah, I think the quickest way to learn is to do it. So
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm not as invested as Nick, but I've got 7 units and two and a
You're
half.
crushing it. Do not undersell yourself. Absolutely crushing it. So yeah, the other thing I was going to say is to get eye to eye with the people, get in the market, actually fly out there. A lot of people want to just do this remote investing thing because they view it as a commodity. And at the end of the day, they're right. All these homes are commodities. And if you get too attached to them, that's where problems begin to exist. That said, the relationships that you build, those aren't commodities. That is where the true value is. I know nothing about construction. I'm pretty sure that that piece of art behind me is crooked because I cannot get that damn thing straight to save my life. I know absolutely nothing. But what I bring to the table is an ability to sell and an ability to build relationships with a brick wall. Like I can talk to anybody, and people tend to most of the time like me. So with that in mind, I think getting in the market and meeting the people is super valuable. I would actually love to get your opinion on this, Ed. One of the things that Brett and I have been kind of talking about a little bit over the last couple of days is essentially coming up with almost like a boot camp that we were thinking about for people. Obviously, we're going to have the coaching program. That's more of a, hey, holistic over the course of many months. This is how we build a system for you. But for Indianapolis specific investors, one of the things we were thinking about is, hey, let's put a relatively sizable number on there and say, hey, and again, I'm making this number up for the sake of conversation, but hey, $5,000, fly on out here. We're going to put you up in an Airbnb. And what we're going to do is we are going to do a very, we're going to have people come in and speak, like all the service providers you would need will come in and speak. We'll go tour properties. We'll go tour the market. We'll like take a bus around different areas in the market and try and get people from, hey, I'm thinking about investing in real estate in Indianapolis to, I've got my entire team. I've talked to 4 or 5 agents. I've talked to a couple of property managers. I've talked to a couple of contractors. I think I'm ready now. And I've seen several areas that I'm particularly interested in. So that's one of the things that I'm personally thinking about, because I get that question a lot, and I want to move people from, hey, I'm thinking about investing in real estate to, I've got everything I need to make this happen. What's your take on that? Something like that?
I would be interested.
Okay. Well, hey, you're already in the program, so you get a discount on something like that. But we'll, it's something that we've been mulling over a little bit, and I think there's a market for something like that, especially given Indianapolis's fundamentals. No matter what David Green says.
Maybe in the meantime, just hearing people's stories, especially their first deal or first couple of deals. Like our cohort, like when we start making our deals and we make mistakes, we learn. I love if we could broadcast those learnings so that we can all. It'll be like we're making 10 deals a month instead of 1 deal a month because we have 10 people or whatever. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And that's for anybody who's not part of my coaching program. I know Mila and Ed are here. Both of them are in it, but in the grand scheme of things, that's why we've got the little private Slack channels. That's why we've got that, is so that there's a safe place for all of us to go in there and share our experiences. But that's a good call out. I actually think that I should probably share some more of my failures, because I've definitely made my share of them over the last several years. And I'm going to open it up for more questions. But if it ends up getting really quiet here, then I'll share a failure or two. Because I've got them queued up here, man. There have been quite a few, unfortunately.
All right, everyone be quiet. I want to hear. I want to hear next.
I've
got another 25 minutes.
Hop off.
Nick.
But I guess a couple things I just want to say before I close. I really appreciate you having this. I did pose a question. I don't know if there's something. There used to be a Facebook link I would see where it would be a weekly meetup. I don't know if that still happens or not, but if there is, I'd love to try and attend, because I think this is very valuable information.
Oh, are you talking about the old, like back in the day when Clubhouse was a thing?
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
Yeah, that is what it was. I think Clubhouse died, and that died with it. But this is something I'm going to probably be doing on a weekly basis. So I'll invite more people on to come and chat. I know the Perez's would definitely be down to come. I can talk. I can definitely talk more people. And if we wanted to theme it long term, I think that's something we could do. If we wanted to say, hey, this is going to be an office hours, but we want to talk a little bit about financing. I could get people interested in financing here on the call. If we wanted to get an agent here on the call, we could totally get that done. If we wanted to get contracting here on the call, we could totally get that done. So let me judge. Like, I'm going to rely on all you guys to like upvote this in the out of state investors group on Facebook. And if you guys do that, if you guys can get me some eyeballs and make it kind of I don't want to say worth my while, but like actually get some people to check it out, I'd be down to expand it and kind of do something like that and hopefully help more people along the way.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. And I guess the only thing I'll say real quick, Nick, and then I have to log off is, Anastasia brought up a really good point where for the new ones that you're thinking about doing this, so everyone knows I met Nick about 2 years ago. I just threw something out there on Bigger Pockets and he was kind enough to respond. And talking to him, he basically said at the end of the phone call, he goes, I didn't even ask Nick for any referrals. I hadn't planned on it. Nick's like, you're ready to do this. And so he kind of got me set up. And I think to the point is, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. I mean, look, the property Nick just looked at on paper, I looked like, a genius. And the hardest part about this property, believe it or not, the purchase was the easy part. The rehab was not difficult. It's once it was all done, A, keeping the place from someone breaking in, and then B, just trying to get someone to want to buy it and now rent it. So, the best way to learn is really through failing. I can't say it's a complete failure, but you just don't know what you don't know, like she said. So don't be afraid to dive in. I do agree with Anastasia. You should have some cash reserves in case there's an oh shit moment. But at the same time, like, you'll get better each time. And what I've actually started doing is I went back and I'm reading all the Bigger Pockets books. I'm taking notes. I'm refining my criteria. So you'll get better. And like I said, the more you have, like Nick said, people on the ground that you can trust and you can like, and they can advise you, you don't have to be the expert. So that's my spiel. Nick, I'll shoot you an email later this evening. And again, I really appreciate meeting everyone. And like I said, I hope this continues because I do find this valuable.
That's awesome, man. Hey, thanks for hopping on and totally agree. And you clearly were ready. So appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Your flip was awesome, David, by the way. It looks great. So good luck with that.
I'm going to need it. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Who hasn't asked? I think we've touched on everybody who is here. So yeah, I'll tell a mistake story or two. Maybe I'll I'll just give you my first mistake here today. And Brooks, you let me know if you end up coming back here, buddy. I definitely want to show a live deal here if we're able to do that live with everybody. But my first deal, I would actually consider a mistake. It was a turnkey property. I believe I bought it for $74,000. You guys can look it up. It's 1505 South Leland. That was my first property. It was a turnkey. I bought it from a company called Zuluscape, or at least that was the property management company that I used at the time. They were a turnkey provider. I actually found them from a service called Norada Real Estate. And that's actually a really cool NORADA. It's a really cool service that what they do is they're essentially a turnkey aggregator. And so I did a lot of research on a lot of different markets. And has everybody heard the story about why I started investing in real estate? Give me a thumbs down if you haven't heard it. I can give you the quick version. Okay.
I don't think so, unless it was taxes.
Yeah. So the reason I started investing in real estate was that I guess I was 25. So that would have been in, 2015? I had my job publicly threatened because I was asked to do something illegal. I was asked to price fix on Amazon. And so what I did in that moment was the activity. I went and I got it done. I had to beg for my job from my buyer. And in that moment, I made the decision I was never going to do that again. And so I needed to find a way to never be in that position and have the power of the relationship. So I went out, I didn't have two nickels to rub together. My wife and I just purchased our first house hack in California. And I really didn't ask for my wife's permission. That was my first mistake. I just kind of went and did it. And she would agree with that assessment, I believe. But yeah, I just kind of went and did it. And I bought it for, I believe, $74,000. It was renting out for, I think, $750. So it was a 1% rule. You know, everybody would say that that was a fantastic, fantastic deal. And then, and so I bought it in August, I want to say. And then it was like September or October, I stopped getting rents. And I kept reaching out to this property manager. Hadn't done any vetting on the property manager at all. And just, they were big and they were selling me the property. And so they were going to have to be responsible for it. So it was going to be a win for sure. For sure it was going to be a win. And mama stabbed dad or dad stabbed mom. Like, I don't know exactly what happened in this property, but one of them stabbed the other one. And there was a restraining order on the other. And so they stopped paying rent until January. I was able to get them out in January. And didn't get much help from my property management company. I had a bad team in place. I didn't have an agent. I didn't have a property manager. And they wouldn't help me. It was an $8,000 turn. I didn't have two nickels to rub together at this point, but it cost $8,000 to clear that place out and get it rent ready again. And that was a pretty bad investment. Just did not, short term was not a win at all. But the cool thing about real estate, if you're willing to hold on long enough, is I eventually got it rented out, and it was renting out for more than the $750. I ended up getting up to $850, $950, $1,000 by the time that I sold it. And I sold it about 3 or 4 years later. And I think you guys can look it up. I sold it as part of a portfolio, but I sold that place for $96,000. So despite the fact that I bought it for, I think it was 74, I put $8,000 into it. And obviously there were a couple of repairs along the way. I was able to hold on to it long enough because it cash flowed for it to make sense to sell it at a certain point. So that's kind of my advice to everybody that's looking to get investing here is buy in a good area and hold on. Just hold on until it makes sense for you to sell. Because in the grand scheme of things, you're going to get that loan pay down. You're going to get the appreciation over a longer period of time. Short term, you might not get appreciation. Long term, you're going to get appreciation. You're going to get the inflation hedging benefits. I was paying, I think it was like 3 or 4% interest rate on that sucker, and inflation has obviously been quite hot. So I got to pay it back with cheaper dollars over time. I got the tax benefits associated with real estate. There are lots of them. We can talk about those. And I got the cash flow for that entire period after I took that $8,000 cash flow hit. So that is one of my many, many, many mistakes, is that first property. I didn't vet the tenant and I didn't vet the property manager. Is everybody still there? Way too quiet.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it's very important to buy in a good area, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a first-time noob investor, then what resources we can use? So you've mentioned Indie Investor Pod, Indie Investor Map, right? Out of state real estate investment in Indiana, Facebook, correct?
Yes,
and
that's a great group.
What else and what other resources in order for us to do better research on the neighborhood? Exactly.
Yeah. That is why I so recommend everybody as their first deal, use an agent. The deal probably won't be as good, totally transparently, if you're buying on the MLS. If you're buying on the market where everybody has visibility and you're competing against people who want to actually live in that property, yeah, the deal is not going to be nearly as good in all likelihood. But you're going to get somebody who has to be a fiduciary on your behalf. They have to watch your back. I know you just got to meet Bo last Wednesday. That guy has to watch your back if you contract with him. If you work with Cindy, who I think we heard about previously. I love Cindy. She's one of my favorite people in the entire world. If you do that, then she has to watch your back. She has to be your fiduciary. So I would lean on those deal finders. I would lean on those agents to help you with that because they have more information about the market than you do. Yeah. And then I also recommend driving it. The criteria I have is I am only going to invest in an area where I would feel comfortable with my wife walking around during the day. She has to be able to walk down the street during the day. Now, I don't hold it that she has to be able to walk down the street at night. There are very few places where I'm comfortable with my wife walking down the street at night. But I've literally been on the phone with Brett, and he can attest to it, that I've been driving back past one of my friend's spots just to like check it out on his behalf. And I'm like, I'm not even slowing down. Like, this place is freaking terrifying. And so I actually recommend making sure people are actually getting out to the property and checking it out. Brett, did I miss any resources that we use?
No, I actually was gonna say the agent thing too. A lot of them work with investors, and a lot of them work with a lot of out-of-state investors and are used to catching people up on the different pockets. And they have that rundown down in their minds. And so if you're gonna be using them and doing right by them, they're gonna do right by you too.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk over the course of the program about how to find a really, really good agent. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it, man.
This might be a very rookie thing to ask, but is it ever possible for you, this is like in the future, is it, people talk about the FIRE community and financial independence. Is it ever possible for you to have enough cash flow coming in from your rentals in order to live off of, or maybe at least cover a certain amount of expenses, excluding house hacking?
Yeah. I just quit my job, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
literally this is the end of week number 2 of me being unemployed, an unemployed bum.
Good timing.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I'll tell you, you don't make a lot of cash flow on single family rentals, on duplexes, triplexes. That's not what it's about in the grand scheme of things. It's really easy to convert equity into cash flow if you make a large enough pile. So I'm going to ask you a brain teaser here, and I think I've asked a couple of people in this group this. So let me know if it's not interesting. But if I own 10 houses, all of them are 50% paid off, what's the quickest way for me to increase my cash flow?
Would it be just to increase the rents?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it would be. Assume that rents, you're at market rent.
Okay. Could you?
That's a good answer. I like it.
Could you?
Generally speaking,
yeah.
Generally speaking, the answer I'm looking for in this situation is to sell off half and pay off the other half. Your cash flow is going to go up substantially when you do that. Leverage is a great way to build wealth. It's not a great way to build cash flow. So that is kind of my take, is that yes, it's totally possible. I'm not living on the cash flow of my business right now. I literally I'm doing two things. One, I'm investing that capital and just continuing to reinvest and build reserves. And actually 3 things. So I'm doing that. I'm living on my wife's income as well. My wife hasn't left her job. And then I'm doing active stuff. I've gotten to the point now where the active stuff exceeded what I was getting from a W-2 perspective. So overall, yes, it is possible. But you've got to build a pretty substantial amount of substantial amount of equity within your properties in order to make that particularly feasible. I'll say that, I think how to say this effectively. If I was trying to live on the cash flow of my properties, I probably wouldn't be as highly leveraged as I am today, I probably wouldn't. I would probably look for different properties than what I'm doing right now. Right now, I'm just looking for very, very easy B class, C class properties to invest in. If I was looking for more security and more surety over time, I would probably have lower cash flow, lower rent to value properties in A class neighborhoods to be a little bit more secure.
I see. So you said duplex, triplexes, quads, or we definitely don't produce good cash flow. Would that be possible if you were to include leverage with like a larger multifamily deal?
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's possible. I don't like duplexes, quads, triplexes, all that stuff, because do you live in a duplex, quad, or triplex?
No, I live in a condo.
Okay. Do your parents live in a duplex, quad, or triplex?
No, they live in a single family home. I
All
used
right,
to
how
live
about
in
your
a duplex.
friends? Do you have any friends that live in a duplex, quad?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Let me guess. They are on the up. They're coming up. They haven't come yet.
Correct.
All right. So people that live in those are people who are willing to give up either privacy. They're willing to give up privacy, and they're willing to give up amenities. If you live in a large apartment complex, yeah, you're not going to get any privacy, but you're going to get some level of amenities or reduced rent. If you live in a single family home, you're not going to get any amenities, but hey, you're at least going to get some privacy. Person who lives in a duplex is getting the worst of both. Would you agree with that? It sounds like you used to live in one.
Yeah, I did.
And
I did
so
too.
I bet it was in a nicer area than you could have afforded, right? If it wasn't a duplex.
Yeah.
Yeah. So generally speaking, what you're going to get, if you have an A class duplex, you're going to get B class tenants. If you have a C class duplex, you're going to get D class tenants. And they're not going to stay as long. They're going to turn. And the thing you're going to learn about real estate is the most expensive thing that can happen is a turn. Brett, do you want to talk about turns?
Yeah, so I just had a turn with one of the first properties I bought. That I bought it with a tenant already inside. It's been cash flowing great, appreciating like crazy. Had no idea what the interior looked like, and I've got a $7,000 bill to pay right now for that turn. So we'll be able to bump rents up, but it will take a couple of years to recoup that turn cost based on the increase in rent. About 5-year payback period, basically.
Yeah. So I honestly, I don't remember what your question was at this point, but I talked for a while. Did I answer it?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, cool.
I was asking if we asked about that, if you could live off of rental income. I was asking if larger.
Oh yeah.
Better for it.
Yeah, you totally can. I'm calling out if Dan Perez happens to watch this at some point. I'm calling him out right now. I think he could do it right now, but he doesn't. He doesn't have the courage to do it. Yeah, you totally can do it. But it takes a lot. I've been doing this for about 5 years now. I've accumulated a portfolio of north of 60 or 70 properties, depending on the day. So yeah, it can totally be done, but you're gonna have to be creative. You're gonna have to work your tail off. It's not get rich quick. It's definitely get rich slow.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Brooks, any chance you're back, buddy? You want to do a deal? Got money to spend. All right, I guess not. I guess we're not doing a deal with Brooks. It was worth a shot. Brett, are you willing to share a deal that we're doing right now?
Yeah. Do you have one in mind?
I don't know. You're the one that's been closer to it than I have. I've been the lazy bum who's just been taking people to lunch.
Let me take a look at the list here.
I just want to give Mila what she wants.
Do you want to talk about a flip to turnkey, or do you want to talk about one of the unique ones?
Let's talk about a more traditional one. Yeah, the flip to turnkey kind of thing, because those are general Burr type of properties.
Yep. Let me pick one of these out here. We can talk about let's talk about 11th Street, Noblesville. So this one was brought to us off market.
Here, how about I share my screen?
There we go. So this property is 338 North 11th Street in Noblesville. It was brought to us off market.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can. We can see, yeah, it's on half the screen. We can see your message today and too.
Shall. Better?
Yep. So Nick, how would you describe Noblesville? Is that A class to you?
It's definitely an A class. The lowest Nobles will go is, I would say, A minus.
Yep.
Wow,
So
this is definitely not the right information.
no, 338 North 11.
That helps. Helps if I get the right address. There we go.
There we go. So this one was brought to us off market. We have it under contract for 210,000. This is one that I think our contractor described as falling apart a little bit.
Yep.
So it's going to be quite an extensive rehab. We're estimating $70,000 to $90,000. But one of our goals is to own more properties in these A-class areas. So we're in on this one right now. Our conservative ARV number is 325. We've been told by our agent we might be able to get that a little bit higher, especially if we bump up our finishes. So we're early in the process, but that's something we're going to be looking at in the next couple of weeks.
And so to that end, with an ARV of 325, 210 is essentially our base price. We have no financing costs on this one, thankfully. And let's put it right there in the middle at $80,000 between that 70 and 90 that our contractor was estimating. That puts, at 325, we really don't even knock it out of the park. That gives us about $35,000. We're gonna have to pay some level of agent commissions on that. But in the grand scheme of things, we should make in the ballpark, let's call it $30,000 on this sucker when it's all said and done. And it's probably going to take us about 2.5 months in order to do it. So this is one that I really, really like. It's going to rent if we rent it out north of $2,000 a month as well. Brett, do we have a number on that one? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think this was the one that Noblesville doesn't have a ton of data points. Mid 2000s potentially. I'd say low 2000s conservatively.
Yeah. So we're really, really excited about this one. I love Noblesville. It's actually in the same county that I live. I live in Carmel, which is just west of Noblesville. Really nice area. Mila, any questions on this one? I know we did this one just for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I have a question because when I was out analyzing deals, so I look at this Zillow estimate and like from your experience, does it sound like more or less accurate, that number, or?
No, it's terrible. No, Zillow, there's a reason why Zillow has gotten out of the flipping game. They're terrible at estimating the value of homes. I don't know if you saw that. Their stock price tanked when they decided they were going to stop doing these flips. So no, they're not even remotely accurate. And again, to our earlier point, that is why we have really, really good agents on our team. You met Bo on Wednesday. That's why we have Bo on our team. We literally are in the position where we can text Bo and say, hey, we're going to buy this. We think it's worth 320 when it's all said and done. What do you think? And he tells us, nope, it's actually worth 325 or more. Okay. That's the position. That's why you have to find a fantastic agent who's an expert in your particular market.
You want checkpoints within your process. I look at something, I make sure, our initial estimates aren't crazy. Nick looks at it, and then it goes to Bo, who's kind of our final, gateway there to make sure we're not all, on crack. So
yeah. And the reason he does that is because he knows on the back end, he's going to get to list it for us. So while he doesn't make any revenue on us buying this off market, he already knows we have a handshake agreement. Hey, anything we get that we don't have other agreements or other ties to, he gets the opportunity to sell it on the back end. And again, that's that whole relationship building piece that is the only piece that I add any value. Yeah. Cool. Well, it's an hour. I'm going to cut it off here. We're going to do another one of these next week. I think it was valuable. Brett, thank you for hopping on. Like I wasn't actually expecting you to, I put you as optional, but I'd say you were the the MVP here. But thank you everybody for hopping on. I'll post the recording here after the fact, so anybody who missed it. But yeah, hope everybody has a great weekend. I'm about to go eat some pizza. So I will talk to you guys all later, okay?
Nice meeting y'all.